Let's bring in our next guest now for more on this. Our next guest, a former SEC commissioner. He's Paul Atkins, and he joins us from our D.C. bureau. He's currently the managing director at Potomac Partners, and he was a former SEC commissioner. Okay, Paul, what about these subpoenas? We don't know who they've been given to, but who do you suspect has been the recipient so far?
Well, I mean, it's hard to tell right now, but, you know, whether they are concentrating on other market participants besides the exchanges, because most of the activity so far has been looking at the exchanges and who traded what. But in order to get some information from accounts and other things, they have to issue subpoenas to brokers and other things.
Okay, so we have a lot of theories as to what precipitated this 1,000-point drop last week here, Paul. I mean, some are calling it fat fingers trading. I think that's been discounted at this point, and error trade, and also, you know, computer trading. But from what you're hearing, what's the latest that you're getting on the from the inside spot?
Well, I mean, it's still very unclear. I mean, the SEC and the exchanges are looking at millions and tens of millions of trades to try to deconstruct what happened during that very narrow window of time during the day on Thursday. You know, that will take a while to try to piece all that together. But they've been looking at various, you know, ETFs and other things and how they traded individual stocks. And right now, it almost seems like an anomaly. Liquidity, drying up of liquidity that might have triggered it and then got exacerbated by lack of connection between the various exchanges, maybe some invoking a rule that has that so-called self-help rule that if they don't see another exchange keeping up, that one exchange can decouple itself from the market, so maybe that precipitated some of it, but they really don't know right now, so we'll see.
Paul Gordon here. Some of the issues which the SEC plans to vote on include a single data stream for all financial market data. Another one is, of course, circuit breakers. In some cases, suggestions have been made for circuit breakers as low as 2% of market value. I mean, do any of these sound like good ideas to you?
I don't know. I mean, the SEC will have to come out with, you know, the specifics in a proposal, and then that'll be exposed for comment. I mean, part of the problem here is that if you go back 6 years, the SEC adopted what was called National Market System, Reg NMS, at the time, which was basically a one-size-fits-all type of rule that I think is really at the heart of a lot of the problems here. And it just shows that regulators, as good as they may be, can't think of all of the different risks that are inherent in the system. And that's another problem with this bill that's on the floor of the Senate right now, which sets up a systemic risk so-called regulator of 9 different people who are supposed to view into the future and think of all the possible things that could go wrong in the financial markets. And clearly, that's just not possible.
I mean, do you share any of the views of those politicians who've been attacking high-frequency trading, for example?
No, well, you know, of course, it's still too early to tell what happened here, but I don't think it's the high-frequency trading. This is the modern world. We're living in the 21st century. Computers, of course, are an aspect of trading, and a lot of this stuff, of course, goes back to the rules that the SEC adopted, I think, erroneously 6 years ago, that has helped to atomize some of this trading and caused people to break up their trades. And so I think a lot of this criticism of some of these so-called dark pools and other sorts of alternative venues, I think, is misplaced.
So what do you think, Paul? Is it about more regulation? Is that what's needed at this point to prevent a 1,000-point drop and sending panic onto the streets once again?
No, I think we have to look at the regulations that are in place as perhaps being the problem. You know, I would be very hesitant to say that we need more regulation, especially if we don't know what caused it. I think to jump to that conclusion would be pretty, you know, would be the wrong answer.
Okay, Paul, thanks for joining us this morning. It's a morning here in Hong Kong. Sure. Your evening. Thank you for that. Paul Atkins, the former SEC commissioner.